we watched that little clip, How I Met Your Mother, and it makes it seem as though like there's this one person out there and everybody finds them, and it's not a matter of if but when. They said that and to me that's not true. There's no shortage of people that never find it because they settle. They settle for less, and that's unfortunate or fortunate, or who knows. People make it work. There's all different ways. There's all different paths to it. But it also maybe seems, and even through this story, like true love, so to speak, is a single person. And we find that one person, and that's what, that person is our true love. And as far as I can tell now, and this is the biggest thing that taught me, is that true love is not a person, it's a state of consciousness that a person gives us access to. That's really important to understand. It's really important to understand. And some people can give us deeper access to it, more instantaneous access to it. He and I did that for each other. Like, we just pierced all the way into the middle, into the center. And to this day, she kind of opened up this portal inside of me where I can go and feel that at any time. But it's not her. We're not even together. I can still feel that and access it because of her, but it isn't her. True love is, again, like I said, it's a state of consciousness. So some people may give us more access than others. And we've had, those who have had multiple relationships in their life, or maybe one relationship, or even just crushes on people. Some are stronger than others. Some are stronger than others. And if you continue to grow and go down this path, as you grow and as you become more open and as you become less obstructed, and the more you express what you most essentially are on that sort of seventh body level, the more whatever your counterpart is will be able to not only recognize you, but sort of open up more access for you. So it's not really worthwhile, and I've been guilty of this, and Merrick, we've spoken about this many times. It's almost impossible not to get wrapped up, especially for me. I'm still in my mind, I'm still like, well, but maybe it's just like there's this little voice. But in truth, I would really counsel everybody here to not get wrapped up in the thought that there's just one person. Maybe there's a person that gives you access, and then somebody else gives you a deeper type of access later on. But ultimately, if you understand that, then there's less clinging to the person, and more ability to love that person because you're not clinging on to them. So the first thing in this whole process, and I think this is probably, how many people are in, I know Mason, you just got married. Is anybody in a long-term relationship right now? I think Jackson, sort of. Yeah. So everybody's just looking. So this is where we start, is in choosing the right partner. And that's kind of a tricky statement to make, because personally, I don't think finding the right partner comes from going out and hunting and looking for it. And frankly, the quote unquote right partner, somebody that you'd want to be with, probably wouldn't be all that attracted to somebody that's got all of this hunting, lurking energy. That's probably going to turn her away. And looking back at all of the significant relationships that I've had, they just kind of happened of themselves. It was I hit a point in my own development and she just appeared. As sort of magical as that sounds, it's in my opinion, you don't search for the right partner and find her, you grow into her. And life presents you with this person. Just like when I was going to Maui, it was nothing but a friend. I was like completely convinced. I was actually talking with a whole bunch of other girls at the time, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna. But within, one day of meeting, I was texting all of them, sorry. And it was like, so. So that's my advice, and that doesn't mean like don't present yourself in social situations and like don't be out in the world. Be out in the world, but in the way that you want to be, like live your life. And someone whose life is compatible with yours will be walking the same sort of path, and you'll intersect when the time is right, once you've grown into the person that can have that type of relationship. Because this is one of those be careful what you wish for things. Like meeting was the most explosive, transformative, earth-shaking, like topsy-turvy, world turned upside down, never the same again experience in my entire life. Most painful thing, most beautiful thing. So my advice right now is like enjoy what you got while you got it, because it gets more complicated once you find this person, but it also becomes a lot more beautiful. So the first piece of advice here is choose, in this case, like everybody here is male, like choose a woman who chooses you. Choose a woman who chooses you. This is, could you imagine in your relationship, like having to constantly be winning her over and convincing her that you're the one? Lose all your hair, man. Yeah. Yeah. And so many men get trapped in this, like trying constantly to win somebody over, and a little persistence is fine, but ultimately a relationship is made by two people who are in love with each other, not one person who's in love with the other person and constantly trying to make the other person love them the way that they love that person. Okay, so choose a woman who chooses you. Clear?
In a way though, when you say it like that, it's like she's the one doing the work. Maybe just the way that I take the wording, but do you mean like almost like the choosing happened at the same time? Or is it
you choose each other. You choose.
You?
No, you choose each other. So, yeah, thanks for clarifying. It's not like you're waiting for her to come up to you and make the move. I'm just saying you're not chasing her. And ideally, she's not chasing you. It happens simultaneously. And maybe there's like one person pursuing the other, but ultimately, it's not a constant chase. It's not like you're pining over somebody and hoping that someday no, like you want the person who genuinely wants to be with you, and you want to be with them, so it's mutual. And really the question to ask, first of all, is, are you the right partner for that person? Like if you were to sit down and think, what do I want in a partner? Are you the person that they would want to be with? And everybody in this room is doing a ton of work. Like you're way ahead of the curve for probably everybody else you're around, I'm imagining, in terms of your interest in developing yourself. So I don't think that's going to be a problem, but it still bears repeating. Like, if you want to be with this incredible person that you're imagining, keep on doing the work, because you're going to need all of your tools when you finally meet them. And a teacher somebody that I learned from for many years, Eben Pagan, he's a business teacher. His wife now, Annie, is a relationship coach, and I did a number of sessions with her when and I were kind of going through that rocky period, or multiple rocky periods. And Eben said this thing, he's like, true love doesn't take a lot, it takes everything. It takes everything that you've got. And so keep on expanding what you got, because you're gonna need all of it.
What's the name of the teacher?
Annie Lalla, Lalla. I think she's the best I've found in terms of relationship coaching. I think maybe she's slanting towards teaching women now, but back in the day it was both. What you're ultimately looking for is your complementary equal. And those who have been in relationships, it may be, I know for me a lot of the time, it's basically, except for me, it's always felt sort of like a bird with one wing that's much larger than the other. There's like a big wing and a little wing, and it's flapping all lopsided. And what you want is two equal wings. And your complementary equal isn't necessary, well, it's probably not going to be somebody who's very similar to you. It's somebody with complementary but maybe opposite skills. So if you're a real, like many of us are sort of very analytical, conceptual, intellectual thinkers, maybe you're with somebody that's like super emotionally intelligent and socially intelligent. That was the case with me. And she was like really, really smart with people and had this sort of these street smarts and social intelligence. And then I was more on the analytical, conceptual side. She's more extroverted, I'm more introverted, but it's complementary ultimately. And you want to make sure that the capacity is more or less the same. You're not lifting more weight than the other person. And again, don't confuse equal with the same. It's not like, okay, here's half the dishes, I'm gonna do this half, you're gonna do this half, and if any one of us is doing more dishes than the other person, we're gonna get in a fight. It's not that way at all. It's like, oh, I really like doing dishes. You know, maybe you can do the groceries. It's find what you're good at and what you like doing. And ideally, the other person does things that you're not good at and you don't like doing, and they're complementary, and you can cross-train each other. If you're a better thinker, hopefully you find somebody who's a better feeler, and you cross-train. And so a lot of it is rubbed off on me. There's parts of her personality that have sort of rubbed off on me just by the fact that we blended into each other so much, and parts of me that rubbed off on her. And we're much better people as a result. So you're giving somebody access to you, and you're allowing somebody to kind of become a part of you. In reality, there's little mannerisms that I can notice from like ex-girlfriends that I do still to this day, and you just pick them up unconsciously. And so choose really wisely. Choose really, really wisely, because sort of like, actually, I believe Annie was the first one to have this, to use this analogy, or that I heard it from. It's almost as though you're giving your partner your partner is a sculptor, and you're handing them a scalpel, and you're saying, go to work. Like, you are the block of marble, and they're sculpting you, and you want to make sure that they have good hands, they know what they're doing, because they will leave an impression on you.